Um,
Liquidity.
Liquidity negatively correlated with efficiency. So what that means is basically the longer you're willing to tie your money up and not touch it, the better tax breaks the government will give you. So whatever our clients are saving, our next question is going to be, well, of all the saving you're doing, how much do you want to be long-term versus short? And the average breakdown is about 75% long-term and 25% short-term. But everyone breaks down differently. When it comes to you and Ashley, any thoughts in terms of all the savings you're doing, how much you'd like to be long versus short-term?
It's a tough question, so I'd like to make sure that we are fairly on track long-term.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I would like to be able to save enough that we can do about 50-50, just because we do have that goal of purchasing another property.
Mm-hmm.
But that goal is not more important than making sure we're on track for retirement.
Okay, so maybe it's a little closer to 50-50.
Yeah.
All right, and then would it be helpful to review the different places you can save in terms of how it's taxed and how it grows?
Yeah, I think we're fairly unaware of that.
Gotcha. So there's basically 3 buckets that you can save into based on how it's taxed, and there's a few different options inside of each one. The key thing to be aware of is the first 2 buckets are going to be long-term, the third short. Okay, so the first is what's called pre-tax or tax deductible, which means you get a tax break on your dollars today. They're going to grow without taxes, and you pay taxes on every dollar that you take out as income on the back end. So it's your 401k. Okay, the traditional, not Ashley's Roth. Right, so if you save 10 grand into your 401k each year, that 10,000 goes in without paying taxes. It's going to grow year over year without taxes. But when you go to take your money out, if you have, say, $3 million in your 401k retirement, you'll pay about $1 million in taxes over time as you take the money out. Okay, so that's pre-tax or tax deductible. The terms are interchangeable. The second would be tax-free. Okay, now tax-free, they're after-tax dollars, so after you get your paycheck, you save the money. It's going to grow without taxes. When you're going to pull it out, it comes out tax-free. Okay, so this is going to be a Roth IRA, certain types of insurance planning accounts, and also muni bonds, although the muni bond market is fairly poor right now. We're really not looking at that too often. So really the Roth IRA and the insurance savings accounts. The key thing to recognize with both pre-tax and tax-free, they're both growing year over year without taxes. One's taxed at the end, one's taxed at the beginning. Okay, so those are both the long-term tools. And then the third place to save was referred to as a taxable account. It's after-tax dollars like the tax-free. The difference is you pay income tax on your dividends and your interest each year as you receive them, and capital gains tax when you take your dollars out. So there's a savings, a checking, stock, bond, mutual fund account, a CD. Okay, so for example, in a savings account, if you have $10,000 in an ING account, you get a 1% interest rate. You made $100. The government will now say you owe us income tax on that $100. Okay, so often people hear that and say, "Why would I save anything taxable?" Well, that's your liquid account. That's money that'd be great for that next home purchase in 5 years, right? Whereas pre-tax and tax-free are both tools that you're not going to touch for a long period of time. In some cases, you have to wait till you're 59 and a half or older. In others, you really can't touch for the first 10 or 15 years. Okay? What thoughts occur to you as we walk through that?
Some of it I knew.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned at the end there some of the accounts you can touch before 59 and a half that are tax efficient.
Mm-hmm. Something you're not familiar with or haven't been exposed to?
Yeah.
Sure. So we'll spend some time touching on that. And the difference is basically if it's a qualified plan, I mean like a 401k or Roth are both qualified plans, that's the rule that you have to wait till you're 59 and a half to touch it. If it's non-qualified, it works differently. All right, and then when it comes to long-term savings, does a big piece of that mean retirement planning to you?
Yeah, generally it's all pretty much retirement focused.
Okay. So sitting here today, obviously you're 24, retirement's a ways away. But what does saving for retirement or planning for retirement mean to you today?
I think it's important to look at it like it's not a ways away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want it to be, I want to be comfortable. I work hard. My wife works harder maybe. I want to make sure that when we get there, we're going to be able to enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's basically you recognize you're working hard today. You want to make sure you're doing the right thing so that you're going to be set up well for the future to not have to work to earn an income.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, how do you think your dad has done in terms of retirement planning?
Terrible. He hasn't done it.
Hasn't done. Okay. So that's part of that. Seems like you've sort of learned saying, hey, if I don't start to do this planning, then it maybe get to the point where I never do it. Okay. And then, to give you a quick background on retirement planning in this country, there was actually a big shift that happened in 1975, where before 75, 100% of retirement plans in this country were actually funded through life insurance contracts. Now, a lot of people are a little bit confused when they hear that, but are you familiar with pension plans at all?
Sort of.
Yeah, so pension plans, basically, state employees are for the most part the only ones that still have them, like teachers, firefighters, police officers, but pension plans used to be the main source of retirement for everybody. And pensions were great because essentially you'd work for a company for 30 years, retire, and they'd continue to pay you 80% of your income forever. Didn't matter what the market did, didn't matter how long you lived, right? So retirement planning before 75 didn't used to be a huge issue because your income kept coming in forever, right? In 75, that's when the 401k was introduced, at first as a benefit to the executives at the company Xerox, but the Xerox soon realized it was less expensive to offer this to all our employees rather than a pension because the 401k is funded by the employee, whereas the pension is funded by the employer. Right? And this soon became the widespread tool for retirement in the marketplace. Now the 401k is a great tool, but keep in mind the biggest issues with it are, number one, it's not designed to fully fund retirement. It will typically fund about a third or half of it. Number two, it is going to be tied to the market, which long term is good because it's going to go up, but there's always going to be volatility associated with that. So if you go to retire, the market has a bad year, your 401k chances are went down. And then the third thing is you're deferring all your taxes till you get to retirement, so you have to pay tax on every dollar that comes out. So often with our clients, it's our goal to help supplement 401k savings with some tools that are going to grow outside the market the way the pensions used to do. And other tools that are just going to be, hey, we need to save additional because the amount we put into the 401k is not going to be enough. And part of that too because the 401k is capped and how much you're allowed to put in. But what we can run for you is actually a snapshot retirement analysis, which basically says based on your lifestyle and your savings today, what's your 401k projected to look like when you're at retirement? What's the gap going to be in terms of what else you need? And then, most importantly, how can we start to save today to fill in that gap? Would that be helpful for you to see?
Yeah, we good.
Okay. So we'll just run it based on lifestyle today. So after taxes and 401k contributions and all that stuff, what is the typical take-home pay for you guys?
Oh, mine's $7,000 a month, except for the health insurance and whatnot. She's at about $2,000 a month. 2?
Okay, so about 9. All right, so we'll run it at 9,000, obviously inflated for the future. And then typically we run the analysis at a standard age of 65, unless you'd like to see it earlier, like to see it later.
65 makes sense.
Okay. And then, gather all the assets. Actually, let's just do. So you put 6%, you get a 6% match. You know what's in the 401k right now?
Yeah, about 17,000.
Okay, go at 65. And then, do you know in Ashley's Roth?
It's really only about 3,000 in that.
Okay. And then outside of the 401k and the Roth 401k, you have the 2 Roth IRAs. Mm-hmm. You know what the balance are on the Roths?
Mine is about 1,000 and hers is about $100, something like that.
Okay. And then in terms of savings, you put in 6 a month. You know roughly what you have in liquid?
$5,183.
Gotcha.
$33, something like that.
You track it very well, though, it sounds like. Any other liquid assets?
Besides our checking account, which is sort of fluid.
Bills?
No.
Okay. Sure. So, as a quick, snapshot of the assets. Well, I guess overall, when you think about savings and investing, would you consider yourself to be a conservative investor, an aggressive investor, or somewhere in between?
I'd like to say aggressive, mm-hmm. But I don't like to lose it. So I would say moderately aggressive.
Okay. So aggressive, but slowly not.
Cautiously aggressive.
Cautiously aggressive. Okay.
Yeah.
Play